This is Backdoor Boink, where we welcome every side of everyone. Please note, this is an 18-plus podcast. It's time to put in some earbuds if you don't want to answer awkward questions from your children, family, or friends. I'm Kayla, a certified relationship and intimacy coach.
And I'm MJ, and I brought the lube.
In this podcast, we explore the behind the scenes of a weekly wellness topic. Our goal is to help you feel good, be naughty. Thank you for checking out our After Dark, After Hours podcast. You can find more information, including our YouTube channel, social media accounts, events, Discord, and products at boinked.com. That's www.boink-ed.com. Now, let's get in that back door.
You're all powered down?
Powered down?
Yeah. All your bells and whistles and sounds and...
Oh, yeah, because my phone and my wrist go off constantly. Yeah, no, it's all...
And did you check my mic for me? Is it working okay?
It looks like it's fine.
Okay, good.
So...
To play or not to play?
Part 2.
That was the question.
That was the question from 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And we decided we needed to do a part 2.
Well, yeah, that kind of opened a can of worms.
It did.
For some people.
I.e. you.
And you.
Us.
Yeah.
But specifically the last episode, To Play or Not to Play, that was about doing scenes.
Scenes. Yeah.
Not any intercourse.
No penetration, no,
Yep, not all sex involves penetration.
No.
But yes, any sexual intercourse of any kind, it was play. Strictly scenes.
Strictly going to a club, going to a house, whatever. And,
Yep. Rope, impact, whatever play means to somebody.
Right.
Versus whatever sex or intercourse means to somebody. So I guess we need to do a part 2 because now we're talking about the more intimate aspects.
Right. And we kind of halfway through went, this is either going to be really long or we're going to have to break it up.
Yeah. So part 2.
We opted to break it up.
We'll figure out what to call it for sure somewhere throughout here when you make a completely...
That was the question.
That was the question. Okay, yeah, anyway.
Anyway, we'll find something better, I'm sure.
Maybe.
If not, whatever.
So, where do you want to start with this?
Okay, goodbye. Oh, wait, I actually have my ready.
What?
So we can wrap it up now?
No, you can't do the limerick yet. You got to do the work. You got to put it in.
The one time I'm willing to do a limerick.
You got to put it in, baby.
I had to go to Reddit to find it.
Oh, wow, we're exploring Reddit now.
Reddit's scary.
I know. So where do you want to start with this?
Well, let's start with monogamous. We all know what monogamous is. We used a few terms last time. We didn't really define them.
Okay.
So let's hit on a few terms that we may or may not use this time and maybe define the 2 that we did use last time. So
and we
monogamous.
we do need to touch on how people would broach getting into those if that was on their list, their to-do list. All right, so monogamous. 2 people committed strictly to each other in terms of play, intercourse, whatever that entails.
What have you.
Yep,
Right.
within their defined relationship.
Now, you were hesitant, giving me the look, saying monogamish, very rarely.
Yep.
So, yeah, we could define us as monogamous, or, on those rare occasions, monogamish.
I do like the term monogamish. I think it's playful and can be more comfortable for people and defines someone's priorities as far as their relationship.
It defines a lot of people a lot more than they think it does.
I think that's a skewed perspective because that's where you're coming from.
But with all titles or all labels,
they're different to everybody.
You can go out to FetLife and get a definition of what it means. Okay, take that as your baseline and define it how you want it to be defined. They're all flexible. They all bend to how you want to perceive them. So,
they're just there for people to feel a sense of belonging, feel a sense of shortening their explanation. So like, for example, people used to ask me where I was on the BDSM kind of scale. And I would be like, well, I'm a slave, but I'm not a submissive. And, I had to go into these details to try and explain what I was. And then I found a term and I was like, brat.
Oh, yeah. You're a brat.
Brat.
From hell.
From hell. Thanks. I'm just going to fix my horns. It's good. But no, having a quick term to get a general idea, and then if somebody wants to probe further,
Right.
fantastic.
Oh, she's a brat. I want nothing to do with her.
Hey.
Okay, great.
Fine. We just
saves you a lot of explaining.
Exactly. So same thing with these terms, monogamous, monogamish. So it defines this priority between the two people, but maybe on a case-by-case basis, there are extracurricular activities, rare,
Right.
few and far between, that sort of thing.
Right. So you said we would classify us as monogamish. So what does that mean to you?
Exactly what I just said.
Right?
Yep.
But to me, it could mean something different.
Yep.
So there is your conversation starter.
Exactly. And then after monogamous and monogamish, we start delving into different forms of swinging and or open relationships, which
Are not the same.
no, but I'm trying to say they are the umbrella terms
Yeah.
for all the other things, and that's it. They're an umbrella, and there's like
I
a whole
believe
bunch.
that open and or swinging umbrella term is being changed to E&M, or ethical non-monogamy.
That's fair.
The more I do research, the more I listen to other podcasts, the more I talk to people, they refer more to the open term as E&M.
Yep, ethical non-monogamy.
Because if it's not ethical,
it's cheating.
it's cheating.
Yep. So that's a good tip for people that are on Tinder, Grindr, Plenty of Fish, all the dating websites and apps nowadays. A lot of people in their profiles will list ENM. And I do say a lot because it is becoming
It's becoming
more culturally acceptable, and people are finding that that's a lifestyle that really works for them.
not quite mainstream yet, but it's getting there.
It's almost mainstream. I would say a lot in LGBTQ. I mean, those
Yes.
are groups that are already open-minded.
Yeah.
I saw a really funny video the other day, and I think I posted it, where it was the perspective of an ENM, ethical non-monogamous person, asking somebody about
Children?
their monogamous. Yeah, the children. Like, wait, so you and your one spouse take care of children? Like, what? Some days I really think having a polyamorous household or having an ethical non-monogamy style household, oh my God, that sounds so great for child rearing.
For child rearing, for
Oh my
getting the
God.
chores done around the house.
Right?
But for me personally,
It also sounds exhausting.
I don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah,
Some days I don't have the bandwidth for you and her and me.
right. Some days I don't have the bandwidth for myself.
I just want to be locked in a closet, pull the blanket over my head, and just let me sit there and rock back and forth.
All right, so I did just drop another term, polyamorous.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
Well, poly's multiple.
Yep.
And for lack of better, amorous would be feels.
I'm going to extrapolate that on that. So when we say amorous, we're talking usually about feels, romantic,
Yep.
and intercourse being the sexual.
Okay.
So from polyamorous, you can then go down and kind of branch out to polysexual and polyromantic, which may include multiple genders, maybe not all, but it also can be used as terms for I'm interested in multiple relationships romantically, meaning feels, or I'm interested in multiple relationships sexually, meaning we are only going to do the bump bump. We are only getting physical. I'm not getting attached.
Way back, we did a YouTube on that. And I think before we dissect these too much,
Yeah.
maybe we should look into doing a podcast on that. We have a couple poly friends.
Do interviews.
And yeah, because let's face it, we're really not poly.
No, we've already set that out there. It's
They are, and they are practicing poly.
yes.
They would probably have a better insight than we do and could maybe put it in more layman's terms.
I mean, not even just layman's terms. Right now, we're dissecting it more of, again, for science.
For science, yeah.
You know, dissecting what the words mean and what it might look like from an outsider perspective. Interviewing one of our friends or multiple of our friends would give us an insider perspective. How did this develop? What kind of struggles do you see moving through it? You know, we're constantly talking about communication.
In the Google Calendar.
In the Google Calendar, I understand that with
that
ethical
is-
non-monogamy.
That is a big thing with...
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Everybody loves Google for one reason or another.
I do because of multiple obligations and all of that, but I can't imagine trying to add a second or third, person into it. So we did use some other terms. Mm-hmm. We mentioned open and swinger.
Right.
What's the difference? What?
So to me, we have an open relationship. For example, you're going out on a date, whatever, having fun. And by date, I'm using that term loosely. You could be going out to dinner, going out and getting shagged, whatever. I could do the same. Maybe no questions. Maybe we talk about it. Be safe. Mm-hmm. Swinger. I hear they're a fun crowd.
That's what I hear.
They go to clubs. They go to parties. It's couples dating, so to speak, without the dating part. Couples hookup.
I would say it's a couples hookup, and it's got a community.
It does have a community. They seem to make friends within the community and make lifelong friends, whether they continue to play or don't play at all, or it's a community of people.
Right. So open being, it would be a person that can just go out.
Come and go as they please,
as
so to
they
speak.
Please. Swingers are going to be in this sense of community. They might have a group of familiar friends that they swap with. Yeah.
But they do it together, generally.
Generally, yes. Even if it's just one person watching.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like I said, it's a couple's night out. Mm-hmm. What other terms did we come across? Paramours, metamors?
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So we're going to put open and swingers off to the side. Mm-hmm. These are looser terms that are not used as much now that you mentioned ethical non-monogamy.
Right.
So we're going to go over to the poly side of things. I'm going to look at like polyamorous. Mm-hmm. So this being sex, this being
the full relationship.
The full relationship. And it's going to look different for everybody. It might be a triangle, it might be a square, it might be a fucking octagon, which, we call them a polycule. I love that fucking word. Mm-hmm. Polycule is adorable.
It's cute.
It's a cute word. And it's a cute concept.
It is.
So, let's talk about paramour.
Okay.
And metamor. I always get them confused. So the metamor is your lover's lover.
Yes.
But somebody you don't necessarily
interact
engage with. Okay. And so then your paramour is the person that you're actually engaging with. So my paramour, if we were in a relationship and you had another partner, you're my paramour. Your side piece, for lack of better phrasing, is my metamour.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Gosh, there's so many terms.
It is confusing.
There's so many terms.
Like I said, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth for the terms.
Let alone the actual...
other parties involved.
Energy and time. Yep.
I mean, it's a great concept, and for those of you that can do it, I applaud you.
Oh, yeah. All sorts of jealousy.
Take that right out of there. Just being able to do that.
Yeah.
And have the ability to have multiple people in your life that close.
Yeah. I remember growing up on a farm where family lived. It was like a multi-households.
Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 generations in the same household.
Yeah, a multi-family building. So one little family had this side, one family had that. But it was a village.
Yeah. It's and I'm using air quotes here, small town America under one roof.
Under one roof, yeah. Mom and dad could go out while grandparents watched the kids.
I grew up next to my uncle. My grandparents were 3 doors up the road.
Yeah.
Small town America. That's how it was.
And then we got all into this concept of, moving out, moving away, and we lost a lot. Like our family, between you and me, is divided up across the state.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours one way and 2 hours the other way. We're stuck in the middle.
But we put ourselves in the middle.
We did on purpose.
Yeah, so
we could do 2 hours one way, 2 hours the other.
But do I miss that community feel of having family around? Yeah. I would totally go back to family again, but I will move closer to my sister.
Yes. So
I'm sick of city life.
Okay. I guess for my question would be to anybody out there that participates in ethical non-monogamy. I'm going to put this up on the question for this specific episode, but do you find it easier or harder to be in an ethically non-monogamous relationship versus a monogamous relationship. Because I imagine for some people that don't feel that sense of jealousy, that, there are logistical, there's only so many hours in the day to share between these people. But I feel like it's one of those things that maybe when you get into it, if that's your natural state of being, maybe they turn around and look at monogamous as like, that sounds like a lot of fucking work.
It is.
I mean, all relationships are. I guess the point is...
There's pros and cons to all of them. And you have to choose, ultimately, what list suits you and what best describes you and makes you feel complete.
Yes. And not to gloss over any relationship. They are all work. Whether it's you with one person, sometimes it's you with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
The relationship you have with yourself is work.
Yeah, I've had to work this past month
on
myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been all over the place. It happens.
Yeah.
You just hit that breaking point and you need to check out. How you check out.
You need to check out or check in with yourself. Those sort of things. Yeah, so all relationships are work. And I think it's, for some people, their natural state of being, they're going to be happiest in a non-monogamous relationship. Maybe not even for themselves. Maybe they're a person who is like, you know what, you go and you have these relationships with others and something about that fills me. So what's that term?
Compersion?
Compersion. Yes, so it's like the opposite of jealousy. I am filled and fulfilled and satisfied by seeing my partner happy.
I'm happy because you're happy.
I'm happy because you're happy. I love seeing you loved, whether that is by me or other people. For some people, I imagine that's just a natural state of being. I wonder if jealousy is a societal, a learned thing.
Jealousy is a personal thing.
I wonder if it's a learned thing or if it's an evolutionary thing.
I think it may be a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's true with most things. Yeah. I can see the evolutionary benefits of it.
Think about back to high school, for example. Your significant other is talking to another person and your friends come up to you and just whisper in your ear, hey, I saw so-and-so. You get a little... Now, this is high school, so, they're putting stuff in your head.
Right, but how much of that jealousy that you feel in high school is because of what you were taught about monogamous relationships from the mainstream and maybe from your own parents? I'd be interested to see how children with very open parents in non-monogamous relationships, especially those households where they're like, I have 2 moms and 3 dads, or whatever it might look like. I would like to see how those kids handle high school relationships. It might be completely different than what we're used to.
Today, yes. But think back. That wasn't a popular thing when we were younger. That was if it happened, it was kept quiet, and it was always those damn hippies down the street.
Which is why I'm saying, is it evolutionary or is it learned? Based on your environment, evolution versus environment. And it's probably a combination of both, but I'd be really curious to know what it's like to be a child or having been raised in a household like that. How that
with
changes
5 different parents?
5, even just 3,
In the same household.
In the same household. I'm not talking, oh God, plenty of us are, the
3
victim
and 4
of
parent kids.
Divorced.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
No, we won't go there.
No, that's a whole set of baggage that you need to talk to your therapist about, because yes, that has some lasting effects. Not for this episode, and probably,
I'm a prime example.
You are. Hello, over here. I just started doing my family tree. I got my DNA test. And, yeah, that's a fucking shit show. Oh, man.
And then I came home and you started looking into mine.
Oh, geez. Gosh, it's amazing what do you call those things that shoot off the tree that you're not expecting?
Branches?
No. You expect the branches, the little sprouts that you have to...
little saplings?
Yeah, the little saplings that you have to cut off, or yeah.
But the rabbit hole you fall down. Anyway, back to the topic.
All right.
Under poly, you also have hierarchical, kitchen table, stuff we'll discuss in another... But this is just kind of a general...
Yeah, I don't want to fill this episode with so many terms that people are like, what the fuck is going on? But there's different hierarchies, as you call them. So, meaning
different things to different people, different polycules.
Different polycules. So hierarchy meaning in some of these polyamorous relationships, some connections between people have more priority over others. It's not always.
It's not right, it's not wrong, it's what's for you.
It's what's for you. Yeah. So for example, we've talked about it hypothetically. If we were to have another partner with us, we said that you and I, we are the priority. And that's because of our own understanding of jealousy. It's our own history. It's our own baggage.
It's our own hang-ups.
Yeah.
And it's the little one.
That's true. That's true. You know, we are mom and dad, and even if there was another mom, you know, she's 7 at this point, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So that would be our own hang-ups in a hypothetical, and that's the hierarchy we would work with. It doesn't mean that we care any less about a third person. It just means that if shit hit the fan, this is where our focus would be.
It goes back to that comment that your grandmother made that you repeated last week.
Yeah, the kids will fly the nest. You know, we're the ones that are going to be here afterwards. And this is where, if something were to go amiss, we're putting our energy into fixing this between us.
Yeah.
So
sum it up.
Yeah, that sums up, you know, what a hierarchy entails, if that is how the polycule is structured, how it's agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
For some of them, it's all equivalent. We're all in this together. Also, the other thing about polycules that I would like to experience, other than this village household thing, a cuddle pile.
Well, that doesn't happen with all of them.
I know, but
You're more apt to get that probably at a swingers event.
it speaks to me. It speaks to the kitten, the
Cuddle
whole
puddle.
Cuddle puddle.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in a cuddle puddle. I might be part furry, which is a whole nother episode as well. I have a furry we can interview.
Do you?
Yeah, I met one at the
I
event
was
the other
there.
night.
I was there.
And I got their
Local
Instagram. Yeah. Yeah, I like to drop teasers for future episodes so people can know what to look for. Maybe they're hearing this post-recording and now they can look up which episode the furry is in. Although the naming of these episodes is not always revealing. I do that on purpose.
I know.
They have to listen to know what the fuck we are talking about. All right, anything else we want to hit on?
Just remember, when it comes to labeling,
It's different.
it's different for every person.
Yes.
So if you're really wanting to know and understand them, you need to ask, what does it mean to you to be XYZ?
Yes. And there are so many different terms that we did not go over just for the clear fact that it would muddle the situation. There are so many of them. We could not cram them into just one episode, and it wouldn't be fair, I think, to just gloss over them. So you're going to hear terms. If somebody says they're ethical non-monogamous, you can say, okay, to what degree? And they'll drop things like kitchen table. They'll drop things like, what's the one-sided one?
Solo poly?
Solo poly. Okay, so only one of them is exploring other relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a lot of terms thrown at you. And as far as I've seen in poly, in LGBTQ, in BDSM, in all of these communities, people are okay with answering your questions. They want to be understood because it is so new and so out of the mainstream still. Ask questions. Ask questions of these people in a polite fashion. Acknowledge your own ignorance. Hey, I've not met anyone that identifies in this way or experiences relationships in this way. What does that mean to you? I think that's a polite, safe way to approach it. And if they don't want to answer it, a lot of these people, because their communication is exercised so well, they can be like, hey, I don't want to share that with you. I don't feel comfortable sharing that with you. Okay, let's talk about work.
So it's going to be, 30 degrees and rainy tonight.
So I hear. Apparently the Aurora Borealis was visible in our area of the United States last night. Hopefully it's not too cloudy. Maybe we can see it tonight. We'll see.
Just respect their answer.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't want to talk, they won't.
No, but asking questions and trying to educate yourself is not rude.
No, but you do have to understand that a lot of people are still guarded when it comes to answering these because they don't need it turned against them.
I feel that if somebody brings up that they are E&M or some other term, chances are they're willing to talk about it to some extent anyway, or it would not have been brought up in the first place. I think people that are not in the many communities that I just mentioned are always worried about being rude or being perceived as being rude. And I think that you're more likely to come off as rude if you make assumptions. Oh, well, my uncle is gay. So, well, your uncle's relationships as a gay person may be completely different than the relationships of the person that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So those assumptions.
Just because you know one doesn't mean you know all.
Exactly. So even if ethical non-monogamy is not for you, even if this play style is not for you, these are ways that you can approach it, especially as it becomes more and more mainstream and more a lifestyle for
the 20-somethings are really bringing it out there. And I think that's why it's good to talk about. Whether it is or isn't for you, at least you'll have a little bit of knowledge going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like those parents when, generations ago when their kids were coming home and saying, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian, whatever that, I am transgender.
We're going to ship you off to school.
Well,
we're going to get that fixed.
It was rocking people's world because they didn't understand it.
No.
So if we give anybody an understanding and a openness to be able to ask questions, this could help family strifes as well. If somebody's kid comes home and says, here's my boyfriend and here's my fiance, and they're two different people.
And mom and dad are sitting there going, huh?
What? Yeah. Love is love. Love is love. And it's kind of like, again, back to that divorce situation where we try and tell people that a kid can be blessed by having more love. Step parents, multiple parents. Yeah, there's also some definite backlash, definite struggles. Same thing for an ethically non-monogamous household. More love, more care. Okay, I got sappy with this shit.
Yeah, you're completely off topic.
No, I'm not.
You are.
We were supposed to talk about sexual and or romantic relationships with someone other than your original primary partner.
Mm-hmm. And I thought this was supposed to be a continuation of the week before's episode, more than talking about poly and ethical or poly and swinging and stuff.
Well, I feel that a lot of what we discussed on how to approach playtime outside of your primary, so scene time outside of your relationship, how to approach that, what to discuss. All of these same communication tools are going to be important if we're talking about intercourse and or romance outside of your relationship. So we've already discussed how you might approach that, how you might start that process. So I thought we were talking about them in let's discuss these terms that people might come across. Let's discuss what it might look like as you decide to go into it. Does that make sense?
I guess.
Because it could just be that, hey, I'm a kinky bitch. I'm going to go get tied up. I might get wrapped up in the heat of the moment. Let's discuss me having intercourse, which would just be that
add-on.
That polysexual that we were talking about. Or that could be a monogamish, or it could be a slim definition under the open category. So we did hit on it. Yeah, we just kind of went more in the...
We got on a soapbox, I think.
About how this looks and how it can be good for people and how to approach it in a way where you're open to learning about it, even if it's not for you.
Should have had an outline.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Again.
Lesson learned, but will it change my behavior?
No.
Abso-fucking-lutely not.
We'll fix that later.
Ooh, promise?
Yes.
Okay.
There will be no more podcasts until I get outlines.
No. I thought we were talking some fun punishment here.
That is fun.
All right, let's wrap this. That's not fun. That's fun for... I don't want to...
I'll take your Wi-Fi away.
What? These are all terrible punishments.
I have the power. You'll have to earn it back.
I don't like any of these, and I am going to put my foot down and stomp it repeatedly in...
Don't make me safe word.
Okay. Purple banana. So, let's go ahead and we'll wrap this one up. I think we have created a whirlwind around this. Hopefully some things for people to think about.
So, I don't want to confuse anybody.
Uh-oh. Oh, shit.
Okay. Because we did kind of go on a rant. If you have questions, reach out. Send an email.
Yeah.
We will make another podcast and clarify certain things. We will find guests to bring on. If you're a guest or not yet a guest but want to be, reach out.
Absolutely. We try and keep these to 30-minute digestible episodes, but there's so much more to each of these.
Yep.
And we will extrapolate on future episodes. We're happy to have guests on. And there was something else I was going to say.
You too can come sit in the basement with us next to the space heater.
You can Zoom. You can Zoom with us. Also, if you reach out to us directly, it doesn't mean that you have to participate in an episode. Nope. We're happy to answer any questions
if
via
we can't,
email.
We'll point you in the right direction.
Exactly. I will totally admit it when I don't know shit. Hey, let me get that information or get you to somebody who does. With that being said, now I think it's time for your naughty limerick.
Well, with that being said, speaking of furries earlier, I found a new podcast.
Okay, well, we don't know if we have permission to...
No, I'm not going to name drop. But I found a new podcast, and I think you'll like it.
Yay! Okay, let's hear your Reddit limerick. I am worried just knowing the source.
No, I actually read them first because I had to screenshot them because I didn't want to lose them.
Oh yeah, Reddit.
There once was a man from Boston, Mass, whose balls were made of solid brass. His legs were like leather from rubbing together, and lightning shot out of his ass.
What? Wow. I wonder what he ate. I mean, I totally get, sensation of fire out the ass. That's something that people might be familiar with. But lightning? Damn. Okay. And I love that he's from Boston. Woo woo. Thanks for that, sweetheart.
Sorry.
Nope. It's a naughty limerick. They can't all be gems. We'll see what the next one is.
I'm curious myself.
All right. Say goodnight to everybody.
Good night, everybody.
As always, thank you so much for listening and doing your best to keep up with the chaos.
I'm sorry.
All right. We appreciate you. We thank you so much. I'm sure there will be deviations from this particular podcast. There will be additional episodes. And next week, we're looking to take it back to something a little more mainstream. Maybe we don't touch on BDSM. Maybe we just touch on something that everybody can use.
Leather? More leather?
I could always use more leather. Anyway, in the meantime, stay you, stay beautiful, feel good, be naughty. Good night. Purple banana. Thanks again for listening to this podcast. I started Boink in 2022 with the goal to create a safe environment and culture for all genders and sexual orientations, to learn about and embrace every part of themselves and one another. We offer workshops, events, and various inclusive products, along with consultations to make sure we take a holistic approach to enhancing individuals' sexual satisfaction with themselves or their partners. I believe that when you accept yourself and your partner on the most intimate of levels, it filters out into your daily life. The World Health Organization recognizes this, saying sexual health is fundamental to the overall health and well-being of individuals, couples, and families, and to the social and economic development of communities and countries. So as long as you'll have us, Boink will be here. Kink-affirming, gender-blurring, sex-fulfilling. And you can find any of our details at www.boink-ed.com.